Don't we know what we have? Let's hold on tight. Found what we're looking for in life. Call us crazy, but things are finally right. With you and I, the future is bright.
So we're just opening up our new water maker. This is a Seawater Pro, and it is advertised to produce 18 gallons an hour. And so we have just opened the boxes, and we're going to see what's in here. This small box we figured out is the pump, and it is not light. That is a 12-volt pump.
What did we measure it at? 36
pounds. So we're working on placing all the stuff in the boat. So I'm gonna get the scissors. We're gonna lay it all out in here, see what we got, lay out how it's going to be designed, so we can plan out exactly how it's going to go in the boat.
It's going to be water maker gymnastics in our boat.
For sure. That is beautiful. So we'll have to figure out where we're mounting that inside the boat and close enough to everything else.
Some close-ups and this stuff.
Let's see. So you know when they say that BOAT stands for break out another 1,000.
Yep.
Yeah, so we need to talk about our Amazon cart. Because this is a list of everything I've got in here to make us ready for the sea. And it does not include any major components like a dinghy or a inverter converter charger or batteries. And it's still $1,600. So we're talking about the anchor rope chain combination, talking about wires and branch connectors for the solar panels, the solar charge controller, 3 100-watt solar panels, the through hull fittings for the water maker, for the intake and the outtake, a raw water strainer for the water maker, the seacock that we're going to be putting through the hull with the backing block so we can do that without drilling holes through the hull, along with some life sealant so we can seal that seacock to the hull and not worry about it leaking. Then we have the thermal sound insulation water or insulation proofing that we're going to put under the generator to quiet it down and keep it from melting the top of the boat.
It's pretty important.
Pretty important.
All of it's pretty important.
It's all important. You can't not do it anyway. Here's our marine anchor. This is Aluminum Fortress FX16, so it's sized for boats almost up to 48 or to 38 feet. So we're going overkill on the sea anchor. Then we have an automatic bilge pump, which is super important because our bilge pump is ancient technology. And then we got the plumbing kit for the bilge pump. We've got one fridge freezer that runs on 12 volt. Incidentally, it also runs on 110 volts, so you can plug it in at home, then put it in the car, then put it in the boat.
Oh, that's nice.
Yes. We got
What does that do?
an anchor shackle.
Oh, yeah.
So So we can,
And there's our dinghy we were gonna order.
yeah, and then it's sold out before we even decided to buy it. So yeah, $1,600.
And how much is the charger or the inverter converter that you want to
So
buy?
we're gonna have to talk about that. But Renogy makes some good quality solar stuff, and I believe the Renogy inverter converter that's 3,000 watts is running around $800, $900. Victron, however, is the standard in the industry, and theirs is $1,299 about. So we're still deciding what we're going to do there, but it's somewhere in that
And the
range.
lithium batteries?
The lithium batteries we have will get the job done for a while. So
Okay.
we don't technically have to do anything with lithium batteries.
Okay, so what else?
We can wire
And the
them.
dinghy is like 800.
The dinghy's like 800. So yeah, we're breaking out some thousands to make this happen.
So it's another 4,000 on top of the 4,000 we just spent on the generator.
The water maker.
I mean, yeah, the water maker.
That's right. So
And the other 600 we spent on boat seats.
yeah, and 600 on boat seats, a couple $100 on fiberglass repair, and there's probably more. It's kind of crazy and ridiculous.
Well, so we're gonna buy that stuff or what?
Yeah, we're gonna have to sell our kidneys, sell stock. We're gonna
Yeah.
do it. Yeah.
All right, well,
Stop going out to eat forever. Proceed to checkout. Ugh. But we better do it before they
I know, they're gonna just keep.
selling out everything we want to buy. Oh, now it's 1,864. What do we
That's
have?
tax, babe.
Oh yes. Shoot, I forgot about freaking tax. All right. Ugh. Now it's time to go have another beer.
Yep. Orders placed, thanks.
Dan. Okay, so when we're talking about boat gymnastics, here's the thing we have to think about. Here's the pump.
Yep.
It has to be within this hose length of this, which has to be within this hose length of this. Everything else is pretty flexible, but these things are fixed.
Okay, and this is going on starboard.
Well, this is still flexible where it goes. We got several options on this also. Really, we have options on everything at this point. The other thing I noticed is that this has a temperature maximum of 120 degrees. And knowing that we go very hot places and that we were thinking of having this under the engine compartment with the engines running,
That's too hot.
like, yeah, so
So we need.
we need to reconsider.
Is there room for that in one of the underbench compartments?
Possibly. And since this has to connect to this, which is going to be mounted in one of the underbench compartments, that might work. And maybe this hose just runs out, but then this can't put the motor for this way across the other side of the boat in the engine compartment. It has to be closer. So
Can that go in the same place?
it could, but it is loud.
Oh, I don't want that in my boat.
Well, I mean, it's not real loud, but that's the thing you're going to hear running.
Oh.
And so I think we do want that in the engine compartment where it's isolated for noise.
Mhm.
We might want this inside where it's more temperature controlled.
Yes, I concur with that.
Right, so let's go look at the boat again and measure.
Okay.
Alright, so now we're going into the boat to try
Yeah.
to see where we can put our desalinator membrane.
I don't think it's going, 43 inches isn't going under a bench.
Nope. We're trying to put a lot of stuff in this boat.
I know, this boat is not really big enough for everything we're trying to put into
The
it.
membrane can't go in here, it gets too hot, so that's not an option.
It doesn't get that hot in here.
It gets really hot, babe.
But as far as outside of, because like, right now, I mean, the weather like this, it's not even close to 120 in here.
But babe, when the engines are running, it's
Yeah.
gonna be really hot.
It does get
Then the
hot.
engines take a long time to cool down.
Yeah,
So
that is a fact of life that we might have to live with here. So 43 could squish on this back wall, which would be nice because because it has this to mount to. It can be mounted really high so that you can take it in and out. That would actually be real convenient right up here.
Yeah, that would be convenient.
So
Well, we need to think carefully about putting that membrane in the engine compartment.
Yeah. Okay, so let's reconsider then. Anywhere else in this boat the membrane could go. Let's look at it.
Okay.
Because that will dictate where everything else goes.
Can it go down below here?
Maybe. Maybe not.
Well, you need to measure inside the cabinet.
I'm
not
going
the...
to. I just had to move stuff.
Oh.
It would appear that it's a 1/2 inch short.
That's terrible. Okay, the
Right.
other place you could put the membrane is standing up in the closet.
Yep, that's true. Plenty of room standing up in the closet.
And then is there room for the pump underneath the floorboard of the closet?
There's a lot of pipes under the floorboard. It would almost be nice if there was room under here. And I'd put weight front and to the starboard.
But it won't fit there, right?
Not well.
If you take that, like you were going to do with the battery, if you take that out and shove it that way?
Yeah, maybe. We need to measure that up for that purpose. So.
But then you're getting real far away from...
No, we're not.
Oh yeah, because the control panel can go right here on the wall.
So, oh yeah, so batteries are going to be back there now.
Yeah. Batteries and inverter converter going under this.
No, just batteries. Inverter converter still going where it is now.
No, future.
Even future one could still go in here where it is now. So just batteries down there. But that's fine. The battery cables can run to it wherever it is. The boat's not that big. We'll run battery cables.
I kind of like the idea of the membrane going in the closet.
It's real easy to get to.
Doesn't take up any kind of storage, or it's super flat, easy to install.
Yeah. Oh, the only problem, yeah, so.
Oh, we can't build the control panel into that because that's the shower.
Correct, but we could.
Oh yeah, we can put it up there.
Yeah, right here where this is.
That's perfect.
Because the membrane, see, the bottom of it would be where the pump is, and the top of it is where the control panel is. But that means we have to fit all the water strainers.
In here too?
Well, they have a little more flexibility, but I don't know about. No, I'll look at it. We might not have to worry about the water strainers. I think they can go in the back. We could have pulled that up.
All this time we've been like, I don't know if you want to get the car open.
You know what I mean? So that makes it easier to template for anything else. So I don't want to get rid of it. That's why you're talking about putting another fuel tank up there.
Holy camoli.
Yeah. Alright, so looking closer at the pump, realize that the pump has to be mounted sideways like this. So the motor doesn't have to sit on a ledge. It doesn't go like this. It goes like this. This is the dipstick. This has oil, and you have to be able to drain the oil on this side. Well, trying to figure out how to mount the pump so you could ever change the oil is one, challenge. And then the other thing is, where are we going to put this? And so now we've talked about putting it up here and maybe mounting it on this side. So it'd mount like this.
That's not exactly what my idea was.
Yeah, and well, what's your idea?
The inverse of that. Like,
oh,
that end of the pump
way over there?
on that end.
Okay, then the hoses would be going that way, right?
Yes, I suppose so, but then they would be going that way on this side. So you could just wrap them around.
Well, that puts it out over the ledge a little bit.
So you can loosen it?
Yeah, and then we still would have to get the water pipes on this side over here.
Well, that's not very much room, is it?
No. Oh, and we're talking about the high pressure lines, aren't we? And those are only 6 feet long.
Oh,
And they don't flex very easy. Dang. There's a lot of things to consider with this.
Pardon the noise, people. I'm trying to sit down.
A lot of things to consider.
Okay, we're going to consider and come back. So we have considered and we have we're executing our plan to move the water heater and install the water pump for our water maker.
What if we do it here?
Right now he's attempting to loosen those black pipes to buy extensions for them or new tubes.
Yeah, they're old anyways.
Yeah. So we're gonna replace those, make them longer so we can scoot over the water heater. So in case we haven't covered it, the water heater is located under the forward curved bench / bed area. And what we're trying to do is disconnect those black pipes. Those are coming from the engine to the water heater, so we can move the water heater from there to there.
Get an angle on it.
After about 10 minutes of wrestling with those pipes, we decided we're going to cut it instead.
No time like the present, huh?
Yeah, you already cut it. Tried to get it on film, but that's okay. It's just cutting a pipe, it's not that exciting.
Alright, well, let's see with the water heater shifted over what our possibilities are for this. This guy's not really ever going to come off here once he's on. You are going to have to be able to get to him to change the oil, so. Alright, so he'll be sitting like this.
That works pretty good, huh?
So anywhere, even like that, where the hoses could just run straight out.
Can you get your finger under it to loosen the oil?
Yeah, it's on this side. You could get a wrench under there, maybe. I feel like to change the oil, you would probably unscrew this thing to make it a little easier, but it's gonna not be a fun job because there's no room. Of course, how much oil could it hold? Still not gonna be fun to change. But I think that the changing process would involve maybe having about a 2x6 piece of wood, or something, maybe a 2x4 that you could just sit down here, lift this guy up, slide it under, then you'd have enough room to really change the oil.
Well, why wouldn't you just mount it that way from the get-go? You can mount it on a 2x4 and lift it up.
Correct. So there's a thought. And if it were mounted higher, it would be like here, right?
Yeah, that won't work.
Yeah, because we're going to be too high to fit it in here.
So maybe a 1x?
Oh yeah, just to give a piece of a 1-inch plywood to give it an inch higher, so that you have that much more room to change the oil without unbolting it.
Hang on.
All right. Yeah, it's kind of bent out. It'll simulate a 1.
Yeah, I'm not saying mount it to that. I'm just saying simulate it.
Okay, I'm gonna need you to do this.
Okay.
Okay. We can still barely have the pump under here without hitting anything.
Can we close the top hatches?
Yes, we can close the top hatch. That's clear enough. And now you could legit get a wrench under here to get into the oil.
And you can put a pan under there, a really small, shallow pan.
Yeah, just a tiny little pan, stick it under here.
Can you fit the pan and the wrench at the same time?
Ha! Alright, so here's my littlest little socket wrench as a sample.
Because as you start loosening that, you're going to start getting oil coming out, right?
Yep, you are. Alright, there's my little wrench.
How much more room do you have for a pan?
It would be like the tiniest little pan, but yeah, I'd put one under there. Like one of those little foil cooking pans. Like
that's what I'm thinking.
the kind we use for our little Weber.
Yeah. That's
you
exactly
slide
what I'm
it under
thinking.
here or in somehow, and then stick your little wrench under there, and out would come your oil, and then you put the oil right in the top.
I think it's brilliant.
Brilliant. And then our 6-foot hose to the closet is absolutely no problem.
Yep.
We do have one other concern though.
What?
Because we've angled this like this, we have a problem of where we're putting our water pump. So this,
So we can run a hose on top of that,
or maybe even below it.
and you can change the direction of those.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, inverse
Yeah.
direction.
That might actually make the water pump quieter, mounting it to that.
Yeah, it might. Right, it's good to know because we need to get that water. Well, see, we got to be able to change the water pump in the future. We got to be able to get to the water pump like out in the lake if it ever dies. So,
Yeah, well, we can get to it there.
yeah. If it's,
That's not a problem, is it?
yeah, I'm saying, okay, what if it's? Well, no, because you got to get a screwdriver in there. See what I mean? I'm trying to.
Screwdriver in there to take it off and on the wall.
Yeah, there's 4 screws that hold it on.
Right, I understand.
And that's not real convenient. All right, well, we'll play with this.
So our final layout for this design, we decided is we did end up scooting the water heater over
Yep, and we got new water
to
heater hose.
starboard. We got new water heater hose that goes from the engine to the water heater, and our desalination pump is just forward of the water heater, and then our general water pump is just forward of that.
Yep.
So everything looks very tidy and nice, and everybody's very happy with it.
See, yeah, and you can see the intake for the water from the tank comes up right here. Here's the pre-filter, goes right into the pump here, comes out there. It's going to elbow right out. The water line that continues onto the water heater is right here, ready to hook up to it. So everything lines up. The electrical for the water pump is right here already. Our wires that come to power this will come right through here. Everything's going to work out fabulously. It looks tidy, and then we'll be
You
able to.
always put your head in the way.
I know. It looks tidy. The pump for this will have enough clearance so we can change the oil. The water lines for this will come straight through this space right here, so they won't be kinked funny. So yeah, we're just gonna do this, and then before we do anything, I'm going to use an insulating pad. And I'm going to insulate this whole space to do everything we can to reduce the noise and vibration transfer, because this is the bed, and this is, you know, where you drive the boat. This is where you live in the boat, and so when anything's on here, we're we want to limit the noise and vibration as much as possible, especially the water pump at night. Someone gets up to use the bathroom. That can be real annoying, sitting, sleeping right on top of that. So we're going to start insulating that.
That looks great, babe.
Awesome. So I've decided, looking here into the closet, under the floor of the closet, that there are so many hoses and things that have to run down into the bilge area that we're going to create a tunnel for them. So currently there are things that run down into the foam that were put in when the boat was built that we're going to have to put our own tunnel in. So the foam, we're going to have to come under, and we're going to have to come down through here, and we're going to figure that out, and we're going to put a tunnel in. Alright, cut it out. Yep, I got it drilled. Okay, here we go. Well, looks like we're hitting some fiberglass. Interesting. The wood's right over foam mostly, but we're hitting some fiberglass here, but we're going to go with it. Get it? Aha! Looks like we got the beginnings of a tunnel already. It's not all filled in here. That's excellent. That'll make life easier.
He's looking for a mysterious foam tunneler that he is keeping secret from me because I made fun of him that he has a special handy dandy foam tunneler. So
I had it here the whole time.
I know, that's your story,
Well, not the whole
babe.
time. I just brought it in here, earlier today. But
So I guess we'll reconvene when he finds his tunneler.
so I kept saying it was right here. Well, it was actually right here.
It was in that bag,
This is my handy dandy foam tunneler.
and I was right to make fun of him because it's a freaking drill bit.
It's a big fat concrete drill bit.
Yeah, it's not a foam tunneler.
Well, we're gonna see about that.
Okay, show us what your foam tunneler is made of.
I'd say my foam tunneler is pretty amazing. Pretty amazing. I just wish it was longer. Okay, we're gonna do a little tilling from this side too, just to make sure our path is open. Oh, hey, you want to test how we're doing on my hole? We could use this hose sample.
Is your hole unclogged?
Yeah, we're pretty well there. How to get a fly swatter stuck in the way? Thought it would be cool to stick a fly swatter through it. That didn't work out. I'm going to demonstrate the success by getting this hose through.
Okay, let's see it.
Nothing there yet.
You think that foam's toxic?
No, don't think so.
I guess we'll find out.
Still got a little bit of a clogged hole, but we're gonna get there. Ha!
Success?
Success.
Good job, babe.
Excessive amount of clamps, but it's the only way to do it. And I love the clamp method because you can change it at any time you want when you're in the middle of nowhere. All you gotta do is loosen the clamp, have some extra hose, you could just about do anything you gotta do, especially if you have extra clamps and a few extra random parts. Geez, you could fix anything. So I kind of like that aspect of using braided water line and clamps. I like this angled so you can easily get to it and clean it. I like how it's elevated to the highest point, so the least amount of water will spill. Even though the original plan works. I guess we turn on the pump, make sure there's no leaks, right? Okay, should be everything. Let me make sure. Tighten everything down here. Hope so. Alright, let's find out. Alright, gotta get some air out of the lines, huh? kitchen. Hot side. Good job. Good job. No leaks anywhere? Let's look. Nothing wet. I like it. So we're looking at the high pressure pump, and the instructions don't even tell you, what side of the pump is going in, which side's going out, or anything else. And the weird thing is the pump doesn't really make that all that obvious. But what is obvious is that this connection fits the high pressure hose, and because the fitting that's on here matches up with the high pressure hose. So been looking for the obvious, I don't know the inner functioning of these pumps too well, so I'm looking for any obvious contradiction to that. So then I would be looking for whatever low pressure hose fitting would come onto here. Well, I've been through everything in the instructions. This is the only one that is kind of in the ballpark in that it does fit the correct size for the incoming water pipe, and obvious problems here. So tempted to take this nipple out of here and just see if the threads on the other end of this are these threads. It doesn't really look that obvious, but I'm looking for whatever part. I've got to assume they included what you need to hook this thing up. So having not found anything else, this is what I'm going to check out. Alright, sucker's in there real tight. If it was meant to be taken out, why would it be so tight? So to update on this high pressure pump, and I don't know why, but this, as you could tell when I was cranking on it with a wrench, this fitting is in there incredibly tight. I imagine I could get that out, but it is in there so tight I don't want to risk even damaging something trying to get it out. So I just decided to acquire a coupler. Now, having done this, I could tell you that the piece they included with this water maker, that should almost certainly thread into there, because it has the same threads as this does. We found out just by going to the hardware store and getting this coupler. Now, these aren't typical threads. I believe, not entirely sure, but I think this is actually a gas fitting. So I don't know why they're using these threads on here, but luckily the hardware store did have the threads. So rather than just go through hell to get that out, I just got a coupler that will allow me to put the PEX fitting on here. So this will be the intake. This one is got the flange fitting that fits the high pressure hose, and what's interesting is it's just loose in here. So ironic that the one I definitely need in here is loose, and the one that I need out is tight as freaking hell. I don't know how it's so tight. So I'm gonna get that one tightened up. Then this one, we're gonna use that coupler, and we're ready to hook up hoses to this finally. I wanted to make sure we knew which hoses we were going to use, that we had everything right, all the parts right, before I put anything in place. So that's good, because I took this whole pump to the hardware store to get the right, make sure I had the right coupler for that. So they say put a little grease on the shaft of this motor to prevent corrosion. So I just actually went over and squirted a little grease from a grease gun that I have that has grease that I use actually for my tractor. It didn't specify what kind of grease. Didn't really have any convenient grease other than that, and the stuff I use on the tractor is actually really good stuff. So, so that's where I got this grease from. Otherwise, I'd probably seek out a marine grease, but all right. So there's definitely plenty of grease. Right, so on top of this, there's a little key that slots into the shaft on here, and so that you I mean, just so this thing, you know, that's your grip onto your pump. So all right, let's not a problem at all. Oh, really? And my extension's not in my box. Where is my main ratchet and my extension at? So frustrating when you don't put things back where they go. I can only blame myself. Well, I don't even have a 14mm wrench, and probably can't even get a socket on this one even with an extension, maybe a long extension. Just gonna have to use a crescent wrench, unfortunately. Doesn't have to be real tight, so I guess it's not the end of the world here. Okay, moment of truth. The question is, with the pump mounted on here, will this even fit? I think this is going to go in first. Oh, that's pretty beautiful, actually. See the fit on this. And look at the pump and the lines running right here next to the water heater. There isn't really any room to spare, but that's beautiful. Okay, now this guy is going to be just right. Gonna be able to go on right here, no problem. We're almost ready for that. We got to get the water line coming in, the seawater line. That's our next project.
That looks so good.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's enough. Oh yeah, there's enough clearance too.
Yeah, we're just making it.
It's gonna be the theme of this boat is to just make it.
Yeah, everything just fits. Huh?
Just fits. Everything just fits.
Yeah, I know the clearance here is barely workable.
Where there's a will, there's a way, and we will make it fit.
Yep.
You think you'll be able to change the oil on that thing?
Yeah, I took a picture of the bottom so I know what it looks like, and the little drains right here, and there's a couple inches of clearance. So
Cool.
pretty happy with the ability to change oil on it.
That is some pipe gymnastics you did there for,
Yeah, it's going to continue all through the boat,
I know,
getting this thing in here, but
for the water pump.
yeah.